truth must be recognized by the black man. We are an international people. Our brothers and sisters are all over the world desirous of doing business with us. But if we are not producing anything, we can't enter into trade and commerce with the nations of the earth. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote in Message to a Black Man, quote, as a people, we must become producers and not remain consumers and employees. We must be able to extract raw materials from the earth and manufacture them into something useful for ourselves. This would create jobs in production. We must remember that without land there is no production, and the surplus of what we produce we would sell. This would help develop a field of commerce and trade as other free and independent people whose population is less than that of ours, so-called Negroes. The truth must be recognized by the black man.
We're talking about revolution because that's the era that you're caught in. You're caught in a revolutionary era.
Defending black women and black children and black babies and black men.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad outlined some basic principles. Number one, recognize the necessity for unity and group operation. Do you understand that if we can work together as a group in unity, we will be more successful, more powerful, more able to do the things that as individuals working by ourselves we have never been able to do. Pool your resources physically as well as financially. Stop wanton criticism of everything that is black owned and operated. Keep in mind that jealousy destroys from within. Observe the operations of the white man. He is successful. He makes no excuses for his failures. He works hard in a collective manner. You do the same. Now, these are things that we must do. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked us to commit to save 5 cents a day. He said if we can save just 5 cents a day from our wages, 25 cents a week for 52 weeks in the year, that would mean we would put aside $13 a year that we could save in a national savings treasury. At that time that he wrote this, we numbered 22 million people and approximately 5 million were wage earners. Well, if 5 million wage earners save $13 a year, this would mean 65 million saved out of our wages in 1 year. At the rate of 25 cents per week, it would be painless. Today, brothers and sisters, don't you think we can do better than what we were asked to do 48 years ago? According to government statistics, there are a little over 16 million blacks employed at some level. Well, look what happens if we raise the economic bar and contribute the same nickel a day. The truth must be recognized by the black man.
Defending black women and black children and black babies and black men.
Greetings, listeners. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God. Welcome to the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. I am Brother David Muhammad, and I'm going to be in studio with you up to 9 o'clock this morning, inshallah. And in a short while from now, I will open up the telephone lines and take your calls on 342-0081 and 466-5391. You can also send WhatsApp messages directly to me on 332-0214, and you can go to the social media pages of the Street 919 FM and follow the program online. So, beloved family, mixed feelings this morning as the first order of business really is to make a very sad announcement regarding our beloved sister who is a world leader. I'm talking about the official spokesperson of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who has been a soldier, a warrior, a teacher, an attorney at law, recently a PhD, one of the most sought after public speakers. Her voice has been on records and music. People have sampled her teachings. I'm talking about our beloved sister, Dr. Iwer Muhammad, where she passed away on Thursday evening. And this shocking news has gone worldwide within such a short amount of time, and we waited for confirmation, and it was confirmed that our beloved sister Iwer Muhammad passed away on Thursday, August 25th, 2022. Now, many of you would recall that we brought her to Trinidad. It would have been August the 10th, 2019, that she would have spoke at the Kwame Ture Center. And she spoke for 2 days straight. The Saturday, where we used the main auditorium, had a filled auditorium, and then the Sunday, we used the conference room for what was scheduled to be a smaller meeting, but the conference room had an overspill audience as well, and she was so well received. Her book, A New Way of Life, was available. We still have just a few copies left of it. And I don't want to say too much about the circumstances, but understand something about Sister Iwer Muhammad. The first lecture that I heard from her, she did a series entitled Mind Wars. Sister dealt with a lot of psychology, and in fact, just last week in Jamaica, in one of the lecture presentations that I did over there, I quoted her, and I think I might have mentioned this last week, Saturday, or I've been speaking about this recently, one particular quote from Sister Iwer Muhammad where she said, 90% of the things that bother us mentally are illusions. And that has been on my mind over the last couple of weeks from Sister Iwer. Serious piece of wisdom. You're worried, or you're in doubt, or you're in a state of grief. You're afraid. You're frustrated. Something is on your mind that's disturbing you. But sister said 90% of the things in our mind that trouble us are illusions. They're not real. First of all, fearing anything but God within itself is an illusion. And, I had that thought with me. Sister has shared so much wisdom. I'll just give you a couple of other ideas from her. In her book, she raised the question, how do we get rid of doubt? The first step is to understand that there is a reason for everything. Once you accept and understand that divine law, next you have to understand that there is no such thing as coincidence. You cannot believe in an omnipotent God who has power over everything and then take an attitude saying something's just happened. And one more I'll share with you. She, in her book entitled Weapons of Self-Destruction, not weapons of mass destruction, weapons of self-destruction, because our weapons of mass destruction are our weapons of self-destruction, which we use on and against each other. But she spoke about language and the cultural habit that we have among our people to use obscene language and to denigrate one another. And she said obscene language or profanity is not hereditary. It is learned behavior. Children learn it from adults in particular environments. And when they see the reaction it provokes, the attention it garners, they repeat it, and soon it becomes a habit. But the frequency of cursing appears to be directly related to the size of one's vocabulary. She said the Word of God has a calming effect on people. And that is especially needed by a people whose nervous system has been overexcited by the way that they have been forced to live. And that excessive usage of obscene language aggravates tensions. It adds venom to an environment that is already hostile. And she says when a human being is forced to live in subhuman conditions, he or she becomes a savage. But we have the power where we can reach a state where our thinking produces action. So, tomorrow at the Kwame Ture Center, as would be expected, we pay tribute to our sister's wisdom. The wisdom of our sister. And we're going to go through her books, her different ideas, her series, her lectures, and we're going to extract a sequence of points. A couple of weeks back, we did 20 keys to success from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's going to be a bit similar in our approach to this presentation tomorrow at the Kwame Ture Center, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. But this is a lot of psychology, a lot of very, very profound psychology. And Sister Ava's grandfather is actually from Trinidad. She told me that when I first met her back in the 1990s. And she's always mentioned that. She's always highlighted that. Apparently, her grandfather was a Baptist preacher in South Trinidad, somewhere. So I would have first met Sister Iwer, I think, in 1993. Now, let me say this. So, the first lectures I would have heard from her would have been done around that time, 1993. But I remember listening to a tape that Sister Iwer did in 1985. The name of that lecture was The Blood of the Lamb. And she was making a reference to, in the scriptures, when they were looking for the newborn child who would be a Messiah, and they had this idea of the Passover, that once the blood of the lamb was on a door, then those seeking to do evil would pass it by. And she was saying that mark of the blood of the lamb has to be our consciousness as a people, that you cannot be used or misused. You cannot be hired to do evil. You cannot be commissioned to contribute to the destruction of your own kind. But you have that blood of the lamb on you, in that you have entered into a mental state to be able to identify the tricks of our enemies, who have used calculated science, one, to destroy us, but two, to get us to destroy each other. So I'm not going to go much more into that. And like I said, I don't want to go too much into the circumstances, but as I was saying, in that same lecture from 1985, Sister said she had announced that she was diagnosed with cancer. It's a very incredible story, and that she had spoken to Minister Farrakhan about it. And at some point along the way, either in the late 1980s or early 1990s, she abandoned her treatment. Now, Sister Iwer has traveled the world, been invited to universities all across the states. She was a leader in the Million Women's March. She's addressed conferences as far away as Asia, China, Middle East, Africa. She has had 3.5 full decades of high quality life. And she did not die from the cancer, from what we understand. But it is said that she received an injection in her knee for arthritis, which is an injection that she has been taking, that she's accustomed to taking from time to time. But she left the doctor, got this injection. She was speaking to her husband on the phone, and she said she's feeling a bit nauseous. She pulled aside on the road, and then the next thing, she was found unresponsive in her car. So that is just the surface information. It is obvious that investigations are taking place. So we won't be talking about that. As I said, tomorrow at the Kwame Ture Center, we're going to be paying tribute to her wisdom. And it is, trust me, it is so many potent ideas, psychological, spiritual, and deep. So, I just returned from beautiful Jamaica, and as you would know, every year, at least every year since 2016, I've been a guest speaker at the Marcus Garvey celebrations in Jamaica, which is their biggest African event. And so I was a guest speaker there in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. In fact, in 2019, I was the keynote speaker. This year, there were 3 keynote speakers, of which I was one. And I even participated online in 2020 and 2021 during the pandemic. So it was so great to be back in Jamaica after 3 years. And I did one lecture in Kingston, hosted by the Nation of Islam in Jamaica. And then, of course, the main event on the Sunday. It was spectacular. It was so fantastic. And I posted one excerpt from it on my, it will be on the Black Agenda Project Facebook page. You can put it on Instagram. And it was just it was just like going to Guyana a couple months back, being back in Guyana after 3 years, and I'm scheduled to go back there in October for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad Week, where the Nation of Islam in Guyana does a full week. We go into the prisons, we go into the schools. Sometimes in Guyana, I'd speak in one secondary school, and then we'll travel about 20 minutes away to another part of the city and speak in another secondary school, and then another one. But this is for a whole week. Prisons, schools, community centers. When I was there in 2019, I addressed the Teachers' Day, the National Teachers' Day, with close to 1,000 school teachers. This was in Linden, in a place similar to a savannah. And all this activity. And our beloved family recently opened a restaurant in Linden called the Red Crest. That's a whole other story. That's a whole other story. Because, you see, now listen, I know I'm going from here to there and everywhere, but I need to do it like that this morning. Because I'm going to segue from talking about Jamaica to Guyana to Wednesday coming. Now, Wednesday coming is Independence Day, and this is what I want to focus on today. So, Independence Day, and let me pull up this information, because our beloved brothers, our African Muslim brothers down in Cyperia at the Deltones Panyard, the Deltones Pan side, they are having a food sale on Wednesday, right? For Independence Day. Why am I not seeing this right now? Oh, goodness. So, on Wednesday, from 1 o'clock at the Cyperia Deltones Panyard, they're having a food sale. Now, these brothers are farmers. And it was actually for the Boys Academy. I'm looking through all this man's details. We got so much going on, trust me. They have spice and sea moss juices, pepper sauces. Right, this is it here. Last Stop Restaurant, Deltones Panyard in Cyperia. So on Independence Day, Wednesday, August 31st, from 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they're having this food sale. They're having what they call oil down and saltfish, oil up and yardie. They're having all kinds of food. But I think breadfruit and callaloo is one of the main staples, having fish and so on. But check this out. Everything that they're preparing, all the food that they're serving, is what they themselves have grown. There's going to be entertainment. Mr. Shaq is going to be there. Ras Commander is going to be there. Other Calypsonians from the South are going to be there. And I'll be speaking there as well. But this event, trust me, it's something very, very special because there's an objective behind it. And it was our same brother who was scheduled to come and do the agriculture session with the boys at the George Padmore Academy at the Kwame Ture Center. And he wasn't able to for a very good reason. And so our own brother, Brother Keith, call him Brother Keith too, led the session, and it touched my heart yesterday to drive into the Kwame Ture Center for Juma yesterday afternoon and to see the food that the young men planted. Because all of the boys in our boys' academy, this would have been, so this Saturday right now makes it 3 weeks. Yeah. All the boys and also the mentors, everyone planted some food on that day. We planted 4 crops. We planted corn, we planted lettuce, we planted saive, and we planted pak choy. That's the boys' academy. We've also grown pigeon peas, green figs. Yesterday we harvested some plantains and okros. All of that we've grown on our compound, and we're about to take that agriculture project to another level. And when we had the lunch for the boys for the last week of the session, which would have been 2 Saturdays ago, geez, time is just flying. Right, we tried to emphasize to them, because we have a brother who raises eggs. So like I said, we did a salad for the boys, and we did a soup, then we gave them a main course, then we gave them dessert. So with the salad, we had slices of boiled eggs in it, and we raised them ourselves. Some of the food items we grew ourselves. So it wasn't just to have a meal for the boys, but it was to instill that teaching. Listen, we grew this for ourselves. And as we say, it is illegal to print your own. It's illegal to put money in a photocopying machine, all right, print it and then cut them out and then try to spend it. No, that's illegal. But growing your own food is like legally printing your own money. And all those, but what I'm saying is, I was so proud yesterday to drive into the Kwame Ture Center for Juma. And I'm seeing all the food that they planted 3 weeks ago. I'm seeing all this lettuce. I mean, I felt like eating a lettuce sandwich on the spot, beloved. It was, and the thing is, the boys, they're seeing that they did it themselves under our supervision, yes. But now they're thinking, wait a minute, I could grow food at home. Is this easy? You mean all I have to do is plant this thing and take care of it? Wow. So now we have about 40, 50 boys who each have had that experience of planting food, growing food. They're seeing it reaping. They're coming onto the compound and making sure it's watered. We put them in different groups, different teams, and among them, they're circulating the responsibility to take care of the crops. That's a blessing. That's like putting money in the bank in an investment scheme for the future. Oh, and it's a blessing. It's a blessing to watch. Trust me. So, on Independence Day, you know, Superior Deltone's Panyard, those brothers, they are growing so much, all kinds of food. And again, that takes me back to Jamaica, because I posted a picture, one of the main restaurants. Now, this is like a general food chain store. You see, you have certain places, I don't like to call names of these places, but you have KFC all over Trinidad, you have Royal Castle all over Trinidad, you have Cheese Chicken and McDonald's and Pizza Hut, right. So there's a place in Jamaica called Island Grill. which is all over Jamaica. And they sell it the same way that young people over here would line up to buy that poisonous fast food. I didn't say which one, nor did I say whether it applies to all. But anyway, same way our youth will line up to buy that poisonous fast food. Out there, they're selling chicken and breadfruit chips. Look at it. And the chicken isn't fried, and the breadfruit is roasted. Chicken and breadfruit chips. And the juice, they ain't selling Coke and Sprite and all this stuff. Well, they have that too. But the main juices that they're selling is like lychee and greens and beetroot. And this is what the youth are having. Like fast food, like how we will consume real junk. They're eating breadfruit and cassava and dasheen with roasted chicken and having beetroot juice and greens juice. And you wonder why they get all the gold medals in the Olympics? Come on. So when I was over there, when I arrived there, I did a short video on the scrap iron industry. And I suggested to the government, instead of closing down the scrap iron industry for 6 months, my suggestion was close down the drug trade for 6 months. And then I gave my rationale, which included the fact that there's more open information on who's bringing in the drugs and the guns, contributing to crime, mass murder in our society. There's more general information on that than there is on who's stealing scrap iron. It's easier for you. Listen to what I'm saying. It is easier for you to catch and stop the drug lords than it is for you to catch these people who are stealing the scrap iron or the copper. If you shut down their businesses for 6 months, Trinidad and Tobago will get such results in a short space of time in comparison to how much you'll get from shutting down the scrap iron industry. Anyway, that is one black man's opinion. And several people, since I did that video, because right now, in fact, I'm going to check for you right here live. That video has just crossed 76,000 views on TikTok, and I think maybe another 7,000 or 8,000 on Facebook and Instagram. All right. So, in the video I mentioned that there was this leaked police report of 40 prominent big fish businessmen who are involved in the drug trade, in human trafficking, in bringing in arms and ammunition. Those of you who are dedicated listeners to the Black Agenda, I'm sure you would have heard me speak about this before. But to many people who saw the video, I remember TikTok in particular, is a lot of young people who, because I've read some of the comments of people who comment on, not the sycophants and the character assassins, and no, not them, and the fake profiles. I'm talking about genuine people who post comments on my TikTok account, and they're, well, I don't want to go too much into it, but a lot of their reactions are like, wow, who is this man? Where has he been all the time? Why isn't he running for some office or something like that? So a lot of that kind of heavy consciousness is new to them. But many people, a few people in government, few people in the parliament, few businessmen, people in, different walks of life have messaged me privately asking for the report. Now I'm thinking, I've spoken about this on the Black Agenda so many times before. 91.9 just has a different reach altogether. But those tens of thousands of people who looked at that video, and it's still circulating all over, they're hearing this for the first time, saying, but where's this report? And I'm saying, look, first of all, I featured the whole thing in my last book, Black Youth at Risk, From Juvenile Delinquency to Criminal Gang Activity. At first, I said, you know what, let me get the report and send it. But the amount of people who are asking for this report, get the book. Buy the book. Black Youth at Risk, From Juvenile Delinquency to Criminal Gang Activity. And it's available at the Kwame Ture Center, and we're temporarily dropping the price. This is my PhD research. It's $300 for the book. We're going to sell it for $200 for a while. Now I'm going to share with you, depending on how the time goes, I'm going to share with you that report, okay, from the book. But you still need to get the book. Very important. But check this out. So, people in Jamaica now are telling me about this video. And they're saying, Brother David, we saw that video that you did about the scrap iron industry in Trinidad. And the conclusion that we came to is that in the Caribbean, on the leadership level, it seems like we exchange bad ideas with each other. One government would get one bad idea from another government, and so on and so forth. But apparently in Jamaica, they also banned the scrap iron exporting. I think it was for a whole year. Now, this wouldn't have made the news in Trinidad. But same thing over there. I think this was either last year or year before. That was a conversation I was supposed to continue but didn't get to. But anyway, so in Jamaica, the government did the same thing basically for a year. And when it reopened, it was in the hands of 3 big shot businessmen, as they put it. So basically, poor people benefiting from it. Poor people putting food on their families' tables. Poor people making a living. Take it away from the poor to give to the rich. That's what happened in Jamaica. So now 3 major big businessmen are controlling the whole industry right now. And this part made me laugh, the one government minister who was at the helm of it actually got a new nickname, Scrap Iron. They say if you go to Jamaica now and ask, who's Scrap Iron? Well, those who know about the story will tell you, oh, that's government minister so-and-so. Because he, and some politicians do this, they fight against the poor for the rich. They fight for the rich against the poor. Yes, some politicians do that. But this one in Jamaica actually got the nickname Scrap Iron. And that just made me think of going back to, I don't know if there's still this ban on us as radio personalities from talking about it, but that plandemic that just passed, or that we're just reaping the tail end of. But it's bad decision in one Caribbean country, copied by another bad decision in another Caribbean country, copied by another bad decision in another Caribbean country. Because over the last few years, we as the Nation of Islam have established such a very good relationship with various governments across the Caribbean. We met with quite a few of the prime ministers. But that position that was taken, we had to draw the line. Even our beloved brother, our brother who we love so much, the CARICOM ambassador to Barbados, David Kamisyong, who was also one of the guest speakers, he's been our guest with Minister Farrakhan. But we had to draw that line. I mean, no enmity or hostility or anything, but we took a completely different ideological position with this devil's poison. And so during that pandemic, we were at odds with a lot of Caribbean governments and the policy that they took on it, forcing this thing on people. And I'm talking about heads of government that we would have established good friendships with. But we were just 100% against that from the beginning. So the same way it went like a wave, and we were particularly surprised that St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, when he went down the same road. I know there's a lot of pressure. I mean, we know how that is, especially with America and all of that. Okay, we understand. But seeing how they dealt with that and now with this scrap iron thing, and I'm sure if we do further investigations, there'll be other Caribbean nations that did the same thing with the scrap iron, take it out to ban it for a year or 6 months, and then when it opens back up, the rich have more control over it. All right. And one last thing I want to speak about, well, a couple things, but this pit bull attack. You know, being outside of Trinidad and following the news, because I was following the news, at least to the best that I could, it's awkward. Trust me, it's awkward. Because we hear about certain countries and we think to ourselves, wow, I wouldn't want to go there. You know, you read about different things happening, whether it's in Iraq or Syria, or someplace where there's just been a tsunami, or someplace where there's just been hurricane damage, or someplace where there's famine and drought and flood. Sometimes being outside of Trinidad and hearing the news about inside Trinidad, I mean, if you weren't from there, you'll think, damn, that's not a place that I will want to go to. Because I'm over in Jamaica and I'm hearing about 20 murders in a weekend. I'm like, what? And then the next day you hear about 3 other murders or 4 other murders. And then a child, and then another child, and then this pit bull attack. And I'll tell you this, with that pit bull attack, something I've never spoken about in the public or on the radio, but I had an experience similar to that about a year and a half ago. I think this would have been October last year, or maybe further back than that. No, it was sometime, maybe early, can't remember exactly when, but my children had a dog. Very nice, small, fluffy, pompous kind of dog. You know, those dogs are brave, courageous. But 2 yards away, we had neighbors that had a very vicious pit bull. It broke through their neighbor's fence because my little dog was barking at it through 2 yards away. And this dog seemed to have nothing but blood and murder in his mind. He broke through one fence, then broke through another fence, and murdered our dog. Our small dog's entire head was in his mouth. Now, there's a lot that I could tell you about that story. But basically, we killed that dog. Because if it wasn't our Pompec, it would have been one of us. We killed that dog in our yard. We chopped up the dog. I'm saying we, not being specific, don't want, but we had to kill that dog, and the dog didn't die until hours later. But the attitude of the owner, that was a criminal offense based on the Dangerous Dogs Act. We'll come back and continue this.
We are the street. 919 FM. The only radio station bringing perfect balance between entertainment and talk. Updating you with current affairs and social issues.
So what, we should just sit down and take the foolishness that's being meted out because of all you feel that all you're real bad?
Right? Unlike his situation that I don't even want to go back and bring up and highlight.
You don't have a good record where that is concerned?
Having you in the loop with trends and entertainment. Providing music that lives on.
Darling, I feel the disco.
And spiritual food for the body, mind, and soul. The Street. 919 FM.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street. 919 FM.
And you make a song. Take my short and you make it long. Keep my feet firmly on the ground. When I'm weak, yeah, you make me strong. So for you know I sing this song. Everybody hands up and sing it with me. We are something special, hey. Very special, hey. Something special, hey. Hey, hey. We are something special, hey. Very special, hey. Something special, hey. Hey. See when I tell you, no doubt. See when I tell you, no doubt. See when I tell you, no doubt. Very special, no doubt. See when I tell you, no doubt. See when I tell you, no doubt. Where we going? We up and down, we all around. We going country, we going down. We going east, we going west. You know we friendship, it is the best. We up and down, we all around. We going country, we going down. We going down to the ground, 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 to the ground. We are something special, hey. Very special, hey. Something special, hey. Hey, hey. We are something special, hey. Very special, hey. Something special, hey. Hey. See when I tell you, no doubt. See when I tell you, no doubt. See when I tell you, no doubt. Hey, hey. Very special, no doubt. See when I tell you, no doubt. See when I tell you, no doubt. Hey, hey, hey. When I tell you, I say what I tell you when I tell you. I mean it. I tell you when I tell you, what I tell you when I tell you. I mean it. I telling you what I tell you when I tell you, when I tell you what I tell you. I mean it.
The steel pan, the only musical instrument invented in the 20th century, is a reflection of the perseverance and innovativeness of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, which have always been central to our development as a nation. And the steel pan story epitomizes this, carved out of life and struggle and determination, rising out of the spirit of the African drum. The steel pan stands today as evidence of innovativeness, creativity, and passion for life integral to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Kwesi Paul. Join me each and every Sunday from 9 to 12 on the street, 91.9 FM.
In Trinidad and Tobago, there are so many things to talk about. Social issues, injustice, child abuse, domestic violence, political scandals, and much more. On HOTP, we will cover all that and much more. Don't forget, you can catch us every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday nights from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Facebook and Instagram. Hot off the press. Hot topics, no filter.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning on the street 919 FM radio. Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life. Looking for a safe and relaxed professional massage therapist and nutritionist? Look no further. Nature's Touch with Empress Judy and Associates offers a natural approach to better health. Treat yourself to a professional massage therapy and nutrition advice in a safe and relaxed atmosphere. Rejuvenate your body, mind, and soul at Nature's Touch Therapy. For an appointment, please call or WhatsApp 1-868-398-8282 or visit our Facebook page. Remember, your health is our responsibility at Nature's Touch.
Together we aspired, and together we have achieved.
We have achieved 6 decades of independence.
We must continue to embrace our watchwords:
discipline,
production, and tolerance.
Our national flag belongs to all of us.
So let us move together, hand in hand,
to create a better
and safe
Trinidad and Tobago.
Happy 60th Independence to Trinidad and Tobago from the street, 919 FM family.
Happy Independence, TNT.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory.
Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen.
So there's a need for brotherhood.
Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen.
Brotherhood is demanded.
Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Brotherhood is essential, it is urgent, and it is compulsory. But the time dominant white society fears for its economic future, racial tensions are always aggravated. The aim of Almighty God is to bring the black man and woman together. The aim of Almighty God is that we, no matter how divided we have been in the past, must experience unity in order to gain the success that we seek and the progress that we desire. There is no way that a divided people can build a future.
Welcome back and welcome to the second hour of the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM, going up to 9 o'clock. And yes, we're about to open up our phone lines. Just to remind you, of course, tomorrow morning at the Kwame Ture Center, 11 o'clock, we are doing a special tribute to the great wisdom of our beloved sister Iwer Muhammad, who passed away on Thursday. And like I said, there's an ongoing review of exactly what happened, how this happened, but we will be examining the depth of her wisdom. It's a spiritual psychology on another level. Of course, she was the official spokesperson of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I mean, the world has lost a great one there. Trust me. So just before I go to the line, I was talking about this pit bull attack and that I had a similar experience where this dog encroached into our yard. Now, first of all, the Dangerous Dogs Act of the year 2000, that's 22 years ago, a law was passed that says anyone who has a dangerous dog like that, it's their response. It's a criminal offense if they don't properly secure it. When I say secure, not a wired fence, but a concrete wall. They must be properly contained. So if you're the owner of one of these dogs and it escapes or gets out of your yard without your supervision, it's a criminal offense. And so this dog came in, like I said, it could have easily been one of us at home, easily mauled to death because we were outside and the dog was fixated on our tiny little dog. And again, it grabbed his whole head in his mouth and was just shaking it. And I mean, the dog is being hit with a shovel, with a cutlass, and he's not even the least bit concerned. Now, it's sad, even when you shoot those dogs, they continue attacking you until the wound really wears in. But that dog, imagine someone hitting you with a shovel and a cutlass, chopping you, and all you're concerned about is killing this object that is in your mouth. And of course, the jaws were locked. Then when he finally let go, our dog, he sat up, didn't even lie down. He sat up, and death slowly came to him. That could have killed one of my family members. Went and had a meeting with the owner of the dog. I mean, I've known the family for some years. In my opinion, I mean, I've never spoken about this since, but in my opinion, I was told I should have taken legal action against him because it was a criminal offense. But we came to an agreement, and he never honored the agreement. And his dogs even got away again on another occasion, but other dogs, not the bad ones. But he had 2 other dogs that went into a number of people's yards. But it's a horrific situation. So when I saw that on the news with an 11-year-old child, I mean, we were pretty shaken when that happened. It's not a nice experience at all, because it could have been anyone. Right? So, okay, so also to mention, Africa CARICOM Day is coming up. Okay? Remember, last year, 2021, was the first ever year for Africa CARICOM Day. It's Wednesday, September the 7th. So I'm going to be doing something online. Yep, 2022 is a year that I've hardly done online Facebook or social media presentations live. I've done a few, but I think last couple of years, it was like every week, every Wednesday night. But what I've been doing, of course, as some of you may know, I've been posting short videos between 3 minutes and 5 minutes long, and they've been circulating by the tens of thousands pretty rapidly, many different countries around the world, and people will share them, and you'll get that message pretty quickly. So I'll keep doing that for now, just for now at least. And then I'll definitely be going live on my Facebook page on September the 7th for Africa CARICOM Day, because we're probably going to be linking up with some of our people in some other countries as well. All right. Oh, and while I was in Jamaica, I was on the morning program, the television morning program in Grenada. And, well, it was actually about an International Day of Remembrance of the African Slave Trade, which is August 23rd. But I had to say something about what happened with our beloved athlete there and the situation with the Trinidadians, and, you know, just calling on us not to allow ourselves to become divided as 2 nationalities based on this situation that occurred. Let Trinidadians and Grenadians not be at odds with each other based on what happened. And I think that was in the news over there in Grenada. But all right, so let's go to the phone lines, 342-0081 and 466-5391. Caller, good morning. Are you there?
Good morning to you, Dr. Mohammed.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
All right, and let me give my regards to Sister Mohammed of the Nation of Islam. Dr. Mohammed, I remember distinctly approximately 20 years ago, when we started to follow you. I remember one of the things you taught us, the hidden hands and the hidden conspiracy. And I'll tell you why I'm going there. When we discussed this morning about the Scrap Iron Dealers Association, the Scrap Iron, and the people at the lower end in society who works there. Now, this is my opinion. What I honestly believe, that entire TSTT and all the theft of all these copper lines, it was staged. And I'll tell you what. You see, the power brokers, the 1%, and all these other people realize now this industry is $1 billion industry. Doctor, let me repeat this. The financier of the government, not the African, who are the millionaires and the owners of the PNM, they realize this industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And something had to be done in order to stage that so that the government will shut it down. And in shutting it down, what they will now do, because they're telling you they're going to restructure. So they're telling you about the green fund and all the other taxes to come with it. What will automatically happen there? They will now put a bond of over 5 million and more. Meanwhile, people like Ferguson and all these guys, that is to throw them off. You see, the 6 months, the power brokers is talking to the government. They will tell them what to implement. They will implement some harsh measures, some international practice, and whereby it will now push away the small, because when you look at it, the people who started this industry is Ferguson and all these African brothers. And people think, and that is why, Doctor, when I started my contribution, I would have gone 20 years ago when you taught us about the hidden hands. People wake up. This thing is deeper than the eyes can meet. Because you can't tell me all in a sudden that just cutting TFTT wire left, right, and center. It's not stage. This is fabricate opinion. Because they realize, and listen, man, Ferguson tell you that companies and countries from all over the world started to come to Trinidad and set up shop. And they understand, and I tell you, whenever the financiers, the 1%, and the parasitic oligarchies understand there is money in something, they will now tell their puppets in the government, look, it is time to shut down. And you are correct. For instance, you dear doctor, Dr. Mohammed?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I thought I lost you.
No, we're hearing you clearly.
Thank you. So, for instance, you have for the year the thief nearly 10,000 cars. Why not shut down the car industry? To me, it's an oxymoron. It's not making proper sense. And as I take my leave, something I must mention, I saw day before where the Minister Donna Cox is now calling the scrap iron workers and the business people to come and apply for grants. Give me a break. You shut down an industry where people was doing business and gainfully employed, and you're now telling them, come to apply for a grant for 500, go and re-register a business. People, listen, come drunk, but come in no food. If that is not a red flag, trust me, Trinidad, and let me repeat it, Doctor, 20 years ago, you taught us about the hidden hand and hidden conspiracy, the 1%ers, the financier and owners of the PNM. They run that industry. They will now put a bond could be 20,000 and more, and that will throw the black men like Ferguson, and they will, you wait, you will see, come February of next year, in 2023, they won the industry. Copper is $1 billion industry all over the world. And I'm saying to the government, keep your hands off poor black people business. Provoke it out and out.
Thank you. And I'm standing in solidarity with our brothers in the scrap iron in that group. Because trust me, I've seen a lot of that operation over the last few years, and there's a lot of poverty involved in there. Of course, I don't condone the theft, not at all. One person tried to fabricate this lie about I'm supporting those who are stealing. Well, you expect that from. But, in fact, that we ourselves have faced one particular case of theft, but the difference with us is we go after what was taken and 90% of the times get it back and then deal accordingly. But we're aware of that whole situation. Caller, good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Full of and respect, long time in here.
Yes. How you doing?
Enough cultural unity in this station.
Man.
You know, independence coming is red, white, and black session.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about African, it's about African, Caucasian, Indian, China, man.
Yes.
All get together and make a better Trinidad for Trinidad. Only this and that and the other, you know, scriptures got to come along. So let we give our brother in love and unity and stand firm.
Yeah.
And then we have a strong and healthy 60 or something they call independence.
That's right.
And nice, better Trinidad. Love to you and the family.
Yes, likewise,
internationally. Yes, sir. Well, the climate change and global warming, you have to realize independence have nothing to do with that. That has to do with I and I.
Oh, some really strange weather patterns recently. And the same thing I was hearing about the weather over here, I was witnessing with the weather in Jamaica. Heavy thunder and lightning, pouring rain. The next few minutes, it's brilliant hot sunshine and not a cloud in the sky.
Give thanks and praise to the Lord and I will be all right. Yeah, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning, sir.
Happy Independence to all.
Yes, sir.
So we have 60 years. There's a lot of great things to celebrate.
Yep.
Right.
We have punched above our weight in many regards, and we have quite a story to tell as a nation.
Of course.
Yeah.
We've been through a coup. We've been through 1970, and our nation is still together, still moving along. Might have obstacles. We may have crime. And who doesn't have crime? But I called this morning to deal with an issue. I just heard a gentleman made a statement.
Mm-hmm.
Praised you up very well. And is telling me that there's an oligarchy talking to the ministers. What happened in Jamaica? Where a minister end up in scrap iron? In Trinidad, that ain't happening because the UNC is going to beat the daylight out of that. We've never done here that. So that ain't happening in Trinidad. So,
wait, what's not happening in Trinidad?
I don't think, unless you leave the job or you retire and you get into scrap iron business.
Okay, hold on. I think you misheard what I said. I didn't say a minister got involved in scrap iron as he being part of the industry. He got the nickname scrap iron.
Okay.
And the reason he got the nickname scrap iron is because the government over there closed down the scrap iron industry as well. I think it was for a year.
Yes.
And then when they opened it back up, that particular government minister was seen as responsible for bringing in, because now the entire industry, at least from what I was told, is under three elitist businessmen.
Okay.
And this was facilitated for them by one government minister who's not himself personally involved in the business, but he got the nickname scrap iron.
But anyhow, let's move on. In my country, right, I heard the same scrap iron dealer gentleman said to us there's 100 and something of them. Then I hear a man tell me that there are 8 of them. So when I sit down and I decide to drive around, there might be 8 legitimate registered scrap dealers. One just by Shogunas by the fire service. You know the fire services are across the back of Nilamasi? Go in the back there, there's there is a legitimate one. I didn't see them on the thing making noise. If you go, which part? The old rice mill was down in the back down there. There's another one, very large. I ain't see them making noise. There's a little black man I born in Arima on Dump Road. I ain't see people in Arima making noise. So let me raise the point that I'm raising, you know. I work for a gentleman, call me a day to clean out the warehouse, hire some men to come and pick up some scrap. You know what I'm telling you? But I sit down there, I see the men and them walking around, peeping in. Indian chaps, sir. Alright, they load up at the boss lady. I don't give me that. Nah, them fellas paying, thing, the secretary thing. Alright. The evening, you know what I tell you, brother, mama, you see that line of Kia van, you see where that protest? The evening, a line of Kia van pull up by the warehouse. Security unknown what's going on. Drive down in the back and load out $12 million in aluminum pan and go with it. When I reached in the office in the morning, I had 12 police sitting down waiting on me. These fellas have me out of a dollar today. 12 police sitting down waiting on me. Max was here yesterday. He was the last man leave here. I said, boss, I know. We missing so and so. I said, well, yeah, what's going on? The same people who come for the scrap take the thing. Somebody jump up, no. They take them 3 days. I said, if all you don't go and look for this thing now, or you're not going to find it now. I said, because as I leave here, that pack in a container and leave. As it leave here, it's straight in a container. 3 days when I go I find some. You know where I find it? In the same place where the same group of people protesting from Cuba to which part TCL is. There's about 3 of them on the side. I find it right there. You know what I'm saying? So could I have sympathy for these brothers when I know what it is? You know what a man tell me? Give him 10,000 and you get back from me. I gave him 5 and I'm still waiting. When I go there already, packing a container and moving, you know, I have to call the police, make them offload some. Out of the 12 million, I must get back less than 500,000. You understand what I'm saying? And here what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago, there are only 4 people allowed to export copper and aluminum. But you could go out, the 100 and something scrap dealers, you could go buy any one of them and sell them anything. I had the president said to me, here what's going on, the scanner in the port wasn't working, was working, and a man pull up and say scrap. And when they check his copper and the customs let the container go back in the yard, and if the president telling me that scrap iron buying, you driving around with a van and buying scrap iron is illegal, you know, brother, mommy, you know that? That is not legal. The people who making noise, they never export a container in their life. None of those people export our containers. They are just men hustlers. The people who export any containers, you ain't hearing one of them making noise. You ain't see one of them in that protest. That one are we in front. He as the president. The vice president jump out there and say, well, if that was going on and the other thief, so be it. After that, you ain't see he again. And the vice president doesn't look like me. All that protest, you see the vice president with them? And our next one here come to tell me that the government involved to try to justify, to try to make it look like the government against black people and holding down black people. Black people don't export no containers, otherwise all of them people would have been millionaires. They will not be suffering. You know what money the scrap iron industry made? Germany made 216 million. TT dollars. So with them fellas is a woman tell me she paying $4,000 in her mortgage. So in order, according to them, in order to do that, you have to have a good income, and she's a van hustler. So what you telling me about Brother Mohammed? Tabakita, no matter wake up. These people costing me. Right now, they go with all my street signs, all my manhole covers. I can't leave nothing outside. They're taking down to the brass fitting that hooking up the water to your pipe.
Right,
so
now that is definitely a problem, with especially the stealing of the manhole covers. But let me ask you this, though. Would you, bearing in mind that there are those who, without a doubt, creating a nuisance with the scrap iron, the theft and so on. It's a serious nuisance.
Yep.
But do you believe in, or do you agree with the position taken to victimize the entire industry, every member of the industry?
Wrong phrase. Like I said, we murder. Like I said, the dog murder the dog. Nobody is victimizing nobody here. The people who are we are victimized. When I pick up my phone to call the police, to tell the police, a man he finished copper and I get a busy tone. Or I ain't get no tone at all because you say man out chop out the copper. So I have to have a cell phone.
Right.
So
So
everybody
you
now
don't
has
see
a-
it as victimization at all?
No.
All right. Okay. I got you. Thanks a lot for calling. Caller, good morning. Are you there?
Good morning, Brother David.
Good morning to you.
I'll hear. Brother David, I support you on the matter with the dog. I had to tell one of my neighbors, if your dog comes here, and I beat him with a stick, because I was using my walker and this dog crept up on me. It is the neighbor on the other side was tearing, and I put the walker down, and the dog was behind me. Not a pit bull, but one of those big muscular dogs.
Right. Well, this is another thing, because the incident with me, the owner tried to make a case that it was not a full-blooded pit bull, that it was mixed.
Matter. It could be a
But again, the bill doesn't say pit bulls. The bill is called the Dangerous Dogs Act.
Yeah. So
And for a dog to break through two fences because he
they
heard
have
a smaller dog barking at him, it's a kind of someone tried to explain to me, it's a kind of male dog versus male dog thing, and he was fixated. He wasn't thinking about anything else, anyone else. He just wanted to kill my dog.
He was bred, genetically engineered to do that, and that's where he's heading.
Even when you're hitting the dog, beating the dog, chopping the dog, he's just thinking about killing. Nothing. Now, you can't tell me that's not a dangerous dog.
Right. But even if it wasn't one of the listed dogs that has been classified as dangerous, a big oversized dog in your environment, your secure environment, killing your dog is definitely a case for you to take evasive action ahead of time. Take preventative measures. No, and chop him. Yeah, because I was going to beat this dog the next time I see him. I cautioned the neighbor, and I haven't seen the dog since. Now, the matter with the scrap iron. Now, I know they pass here for people old battery buying and whatnot, and I've given away some stuff and so on, and I've sold some and all kinds of things. So my issue is that it was now bordering on the cusp of vigilante justice, as happened in Mamoral, where they captured 3 of the guys stealing the telephone cables and put a serious licking on them. In the photograph that came on the phone, you could see blood. Now, at some point when the law fails to uphold and to protect people and even the state property, another kind of justice steps in. So that's vigilante justice. The other thing is that people who are going to now put security at their installations, WASA for example, and let's say somebody go to steal something from WASA, and the security guard, who probably has a prison background too, like they're claiming they're unemployable otherwise, he's just as jumpy as they are and as fearful for his life as he ought to be if people come to rob and so on. And he may have a gun, he may have a baton, somebody go kill somebody there. So what I'm saying is, yes, they're honest people, but they are caught up in an industry with a lot of thieves, right? Past, present, and probably future too. So I'm saying that the government, they may have taken the wrong action. That is open to debate. I think it's the right action. But by stopping it at this point, they certainly saved the vigilante justice from it has started, right? From continuing, and they certainly saved people from coming up against security. Some of them will be armed. So then you'll see people dying, and then you'll ask the question, what is the penalty for thieving 10 yards of cable? It's not death, but the guy is dead. You see, so we have to be careful with this thing. Once a certain level of crime emerges, vigilante justice steps in. And I think we had reached that point. In fact, in my contributions in other places, I had said that it was going to start. It's almost inevitable that when you have a breakdown of law and order, vigilante justice steps in. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Caller, good morning.
Sorry about that.
Please.
I'm David Mohammed.
Yes.
And let me listen to you. Good morning. I missed time like Mr. Pinal coming off the areas that I didn't say was a fire. I'm saying good morning to your listeners at this time. And let me say that I want to thank you very much for going to my sister island of Jamaica. Let me say good morning to my brothers and sisters in the beautiful land of Jamaica, where it's really, really yaddy. God man, food man, and blessed. Love Jamaica. Good morning to the Caribbean by extension. You are part of King's Heart too. None is getting left out. Brother Mohammed, I want to start out saying that I want to thank you for also trying to dialogue and speak with Batara. I want to thank you for that. I do not have that patience to do that.
All right, well, let's not focus on other callers and other listeners and.
No, because Brother Mohammed, he not focus on what Tabitha say, and I have to respond to that too.
Well, you have a point there.
Yes. Okay. I know I have a point there. So now what I say that you are patient to try to do it, but I am not going there. Brother Mohammed, I want to thank, because the first time I agree in my life living in this country, knowing about emancipation committee Kampon, I hear him speaking out against the police service, who is like targeting young African men in my communities around Trinidad and Tobago. And he say is the former commissioner, in my words, leave a blood taste in these police and them mouth to go after these young African men. I want to thank him for talking out and continue talking out, because I know Brother Mohammed talking today, yesterday, and also I want to say that because all hands on deck on this. But Brother Mohammed, I am calling on the Honorable Prime Minister to come down from his high horse and meet these young men and them. Brother Mohammed, if you go to things they're mad, how you go to the doctor to meet criminals and killers? I'm going there. Brother Mohammed, there's a wanted man. He is wanted. He can't go in certain country because he will be arrested. And Dr. Rowdy meeting not once, not twice, many times. He even sent his minister to talk with him. I'm speaking about Nicolas Maduro.
Wait, one second. Do you accept that Nicolas Maduro is a criminal?
Is a wanted man, yes. By the state.
In whose opinion?
United States of America.
Oh.
Yes, Joe Biden borrowing low because he has to do what he has to do to get oil and to get revenue. But the FBI, by law, there's a warrant out until Joe Biden remove what Trump did. I do not know. But I know
America have branded a lot of very good people criminals, and at the same time they've exonerated a lot of real criminals.
I don't know something about that. I agree in what I see on the news and what is on papers, and tell the United States this say that he's not an Atlantic terrorist. I am going with the timelines in America, Fox News, CNN News, BBC News, until I see something different.
Yeah.
I think because politicians in America asking questions why Obama regime is going and mix up with Nicolas Maduro government. So, Brother Mohammed, as my point continue, because I know that you have a
question mark over America. So you're going to interject here. But Venezuela and America is like the same. If you want to put it so, it is like the same. But the point remains that Dr. Rowley could come down from there and meet these young individuals and them. Because he's an inspired leader, he's a doctor, he bright, he intellect, and he could give these young boys some word of comfort, some word of
But that part I agree with fully. Because with the crisis that we have in our country right now, to be honest, I think that could be a very impacting source of inspiration. And I have said from the beginning, from the very beginning, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the policy of the current government. I wouldn't say the policy, but I'd say the priorities. Right, let me say that. So I'm withdrawing the word policy and inserting the word priority. I don't agree with the priorities, with a lot of the priorities of the current government. However, I've always said from day one, I am proud of the image of my prime minister because I believe it can be and is a major source of inspiration for our young black boys who are marginalized, who have gone into gangs, come out of single-parent families, dropped out of school, been made to believe that they will be permanent underachievers, destined not to be successful. And then they see a prime minister, a black man like themselves who has come from poverty and achieved. That is such a valuable criteria. I think that, so if that is the case, and this is from my vantage point, then that can be further taken advantage of in using that inspiration to go and meet with the young men, have forums with them, randomly invite a focus group in to do some action research and find out what the major concerns are. And each of them, if something like that is done, each of them will go back to their own communities and say, guess who I met with? And he listened to us. He shared these ideas with us. He gave us this opportunity. And that would spread. Now, listen, let me say this to you. You see, right now, and no offense meant to anyone, but this is, I think, the worst time to be a sycophant. Because this is a time where if you really do love the government, this is not the time to defend everything that they're doing. It might be better to quietly, within a circle, say to them, listen, man, there's a lot of unrest on the ground level. There's a lot of contempt. Listen, I'm sure you know, right, that a lot of people who are involved in politics or interested would go to one of two places, either PNM or UNC. Those are the choices.
Yep.
But I'm seeing now a lot of people in public life. I don't want to single out anyone, but there have probably been at least 6 or 7 individuals over the last, say, couple months have decided to go into some of these smaller political parties. Again, I'm not really impressed with any of them either. But people are going to those parties instead of the traditional choices of PNM or UNC. Because there's a complete disillusionment with the political landscape right now. But this is not a time, because there are people out there, in spite of the fact that more and more people are turning away, there are those who will still defend the government in anything, everything. They're doing a good job. They're doing a great job. They're so fantastic. They care about all the people. They're doing so well. No, it's not the time for that. And I don't think that they realize how much they are hurting their party by that kind of mentality of trying to bully people into supporting the government in everything, when the government themselves know that there are certain mistakes that they're making. And you can never be my friend in real life if I am making a detrimental mistake and you're praising me in the public for doing it. It starts to look suspect. And right now, that isn't going down too well at all. And with the crime, you see, and the crime rate isn't helping as well. You know, that's just like adding fuel. I'm telling you, being outside of Trinidad and listening to the news about Trinidad, it sounds like a different kind of place altogether, where an almost anything goes kind of society.
Yeah. And Brother Mohammed, I want to thank you how you put it there, in your words, and for words that in that the Prime Minister could hear, your words and my words, because I speak different than you. And because it needs for that, people might say, no, it don't need for that. It needs for the leader of this country, for the head of this country, to go down and meet these young African men and them who just killing out themselves for no reason and killing innocent people for no reason, because it seems that these young boys lost hope.
And let me tell you,
they lost hope.
Let me tell you one last thing, right?
And Dr. Rowdy loves to talk about family life. He loves to talk about is what causing the crime, is how people grow up. What I don't believe that, because I grew up in a community where there's guns and killers, and I never go down that road. Thank God for that. But he needs to, and even himself, he can't go himself. He could send somebody, not for Gerald Hines, but he could send somebody who the African community, even such like Beckers, where people look up to, where people will sit down and hear, where people, because if the community is hug and kisses. You know what I mean? She doesn't come with no security guard. For Gerald Hines might have to go with one security guard. But
well, on the contrary, I think
it's a different. And Brother Mohammed, the crime and the killing of our African brothers, it seems like it is not a burning issue to this government, where is more African people support a party, and it's more African people who put them there, and it's our community who vote for them is what having this sort of killing today. I was advised a whole corporation closed down in Port of Spain. Remember?
Yes.
Family I know, friends I know, they're not going to work down there because because where that's located is a borderline, and a whole corporation has to be closed down. Workers have to be working in the community. Workers can't leave the community and go out and work in the next community because they could gun down just by living in that community. But Mohammed is literally innocent one. And that is why I've been calling days and days and days. It reached home to me. It reached home. It come to my doorstep. Brother Mohammed.
Yeah.
Because I not bury a cousin of mine. I mean, never killed nobody. Never hold a gun. Never been locked up. He's a weather. Building roof. But he just lived in a community. And he was passed out. And so how the war reached now. You now have to be careful how you stepping out the door, how you going down the road, how you going in the next man's community where you're passing. You now have to know the time to come outside. You have to know the time to go inside. You have to know where to go. I know where not to go. I mean, and I cannot accept it. I cannot speak what I want to speak. But I can say, as the leader of the country, as an inspiring black man who write a book from Mason Hall, come from humble beginnings, as he said. He come from nothing to something. I think that he need, because all the founding father of this nation did it. He went to the youth. He went to the youth and
Yeah,
speaking
and last thing I'll say to you on this
talk
is
to
that
them.
one
Give
big
them
mistake that this country made, well, not the whole country, was when Patrick Manning met with some of the community leaders and they criticized him for it. They criticized him for doing what he should be doing. And that was a mistake that was made. They came down hard on Mr. Manning for that. But that's what we need from our politicians. Caller, good morning.
Very good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
To one and all. Oh boy, sometimes I find it kind of a laugh. Some people like they come here to get an award or something, but anyways, we're thanking this one. The same that is said about the stealing of the copper and so on by a previous caller, that it's all staged. The same thing is said about the crime, that it's politically motivated and staged. And people are paid money to heat up the place and all sorts of things. That's what you're hearing on the ground as well. But besides hearing that, something is telling you that this crime is not natural. It's not normal. Something is going on there. And this last caller there, among the things he said that people who not involved in crime. So it's just as though that you actually want to get the sense of people just want to kill because they tell me kill people and make the place ungovernable and make the place uneasy and all of this kind of thing. That is what you're seeing and sensing. And what a shame. What a shame. People could take people's lives like that, but about the child with the dog, that is beyond, and is the child's mother. That is the part that we have to. And once again, it shows this brother and sister situation that sometimes you think it's even more than the mother, more than maternal. In a case that happened with the young brother and sister that was stopped by the police. And when one police say, okay, go on, the other police say, no, come, and start to check him and rough him up. And his sister came out in his defense. And she was criticized for defending her brother. He did absolutely nothing. They are entrepreneurs going about their business. But there was some injection of ethnicity there. And one police said that, come, let me, and start to shake them down. And she came out in defense of her brother. This same thing, they said that the dog was going after the brother and the little girl. She got in the way because she wanted to defend her brother. So that is something by itself that is so tragic. I don't know what is happening too with children and dying and all this thing. But most of all, I want to ask Brother Muhammad, how old was the sister that passed on?
You know what? So Sister Ava Muhammad was actually 71 years old.
Okay.
But at no point in that sister's life did she ever come across as... Because, I mean, like I said, the first speech that I heard from her was a speech that she did in 1985, which is a pretty long time ago to be lecturing, But I didn't realize that she had crossed 70. And she has always appeared so youthful, so vibrant, so energetic. I mean, she does so much work. She has a radio program called The Elevated Places. She speaks at so many universities. She's an attorney for black organizations. And she's also the official spokesperson for Minister Farrakhan. So, I mean, she's always on the go.
Yeah.
Always on the go.
Aside from her qualifications, that of itself is something that is so needed in the world today, that kind of a outlook on life and energy, that of itself, besides her qualification. And was she ailing?
No, not at all. Not at all. Now, again, she was diagnosed with cancer in the 1980s, but that never slowed her down or stopped her. And she was up to the day that she passed, she was working, but I have to leave it there with you, but thanks for calling in. So, tomorrow morning at the Kwame Ture Center at 11 o'clock for my weekly lectures there, we are honoring the wisdom of Sister Ava Muhammad. It's some powerful, powerful spiritual psychology. Hope to see you there. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum.
We are the street. 919 FM. The only radio station bringing perfect balance